BTS news today. Seoul is shaking again, not because of earthquakes or extreme weather, but because of something much more emotional, much deeper, and much more shaking the hearts of millions of people around the world. Truths that had been only whispers and theories have finally burst to the surface. JIKOOK is real. And this time, it's not just rumors that are talked about in the whispers of the fan community. It's not just speculation based on meeting eyes or too long touching of hands. It's real, revealed, seen, and indisputable that it all started from an unplanned moment that shook the K-pop world to its roots. At a closed-door event organized by a major agency where BTS members are based, there was a recording leaked to the public. Not long, not full of dramatic dialogue, but enough to paralyze the internet for several hours. The video shows Park, Jimin, and Jungkook standing in a corner of the room, talking in low voices, staring at each other with an intensity that can't be explained in ordinary words. And then, what happened next brought the entire army to tears. A tight hug, too long to be called just an ordinary hug between friends. Then, a short kiss full of sincerity. The tape spread like wildfire in a dry forest. Online communities, both fans and non-fans alike, began to reopen every archive, every moment of their interaction on stage and behind the scenes. It's like a puzzle piece starting to come together. Their always sincere laughter, the way Jungkook looked at Jimin when the man sang, the way Jimin touched Jungkook's hand when the others were not looking, all now had a new meaning. It's no longer just an interaction between two friends, but something more than that. Something that has been neatly hidden behind the professionalism and glare of the camera. Reactions from fans were mixed. Most responded with overwhelming support and love. The hashtag JIKOOK is real soared to become a global trending topic in just 27 minutes. Fan art, fanfiction, and messages of support flooded social media. Many crying not out of shock or disappointment, but out of happiness to see two people they love finally free to be themselves. The army realized that during this time JIKOOK had been through a lot. Pressure from the industry, image demands, and of course the fear of rejection. However, not all parties are sweet. A small percentage of netizens showed a less pleasant reaction. Some doubted the authenticity of the video, calling it an edit, deep fake, or just acting for a project. But when Big Hit finally released an official statement, there was no longer any room for speculation. In the release, they did not deny, not refuse. Just one short sentence shook the earth. We believe in sincere love, whatever it may be. Please continue to support their journey. That's enough. One sentence is like a gateway to a new world for many. A world where love no longer has to be hidden, especially in an industry that has always demanded perfection and heteronormative images from their idols. A world where Jungkook and Jimin can be Jungkook and Jimin, without masks, without scripts, without lies. After the official statement, both disappeared for a while from the public. No new uploads on social media, no appearances on television shows. The fans began to worry, wondering if the pressure from the recognition was too great for them. But in the end, 2 weeks after the first storm passed, they appeared together at the airport, hand in hand, with smiles too peaceful to say fake. Jimin wore a gray oversized hoodie and black hat, while Jungkook wore a denim jacket and a mask that didn't manage to hide his gleaming eyes. They don't talk to reporters, they don't give interviews, they just walk slowly through the crowd with their hands on each other. In a world that is too noisy, they choose silence as the loudest declaration of love. After that, various exclusive interviews began to appear. One of the most touching was an interview with the Korean version of Time magazine, in which Jimin finally spoke for the first time. In a calm but emotional voice, he said, "We never planned for this to become public consumption, but we are also tired of living in fear. If this can give strength to others, then we will not retreat." Jungkook added, "Love is the purest and most beautiful thing a human being can feel. If I had to choose between my career and the person I love, I would choose him 1,000 times." The interview became a milestone, not just in the world of Korean entertainment, but also in the global conversation about love, identity, and courage. Many LGBTQ+ activists have called this moment a monumental breakthrough in representation in Asian media. JIKOOK became a symbol not only for the army, but also for millions of people who had felt alone in their struggle to love honestly. After such recognition, changes begin to be noticeable. BTS's next concert, held in Tokyo, became the most emotional concert in the group's history. In the middle of the concert, when all the lights went out and only the sound of thousands of people's breathing was heard, Jimin held Jungkook's hand and said, "Thank you for never leaving us, even though we chose to be fully human." Applause erupted, tears broke out everywhere, and for the first time, idols stood not just as perfect figures, but as whole persons with fear, love, and hope. JIKOOK is no longer just a compound name. It is no longer just a fan service project. They are true stories about two young people who meet, grow, complement each other, heal each other, and finally choose to no longer hide. JIKOOK's story will continue to be remembered, not for its sensationalism, but for their courage to be honest. In a world that is often cruel to the different, honesty is the highest form of rebellion. And their love, though born in the shadows of the cameras and the demands of the industry, can finally shine with its purest light, the light of love that no longer needs to be hidden. After a concert in Tokyo that became an emotional turning point for fans and BTS themselves, things started to feel different. Jimin and Jungkook are no longer limiting themselves as before. They remain professional on stage, but now let their personal side emerge naturally. There was no more awkwardness when Jungkook hugged Jimin as the song ended. No more avoiding cameras when the two are sitting side by side in the waiting room. Even in one live broadcast session on the Weverse platform, Jungkook innocently fed Jimin food, and Jimin just laughed while looking at Jungkook with a loving look that couldn't be hidden. The world watched, and this time, they didn't turn away. Many people wonder, since when did all this begin? Has it grown since their debut in 2013, when they were trainees? Or does it grow slowly from friendship that is too deep to turn into love? Fans are digging into old footage again, trying to decipher the little moments that once seemed ordinary but now feel full of meaning. The way Jungkook keeps his distance from Jimin in front of the camera, yet is so protective behind the scenes. The way Jimin comforted Jungkook as he looked frustrated in the practice room. It all feels like a mosaic that finally forms a whole painting. A love story that grows slowly but firmly behind the spotlight of the world. One of the most defining moments of 2018 was BTS' Love Yourself World Tour. In a behind-the-scenes video that went viral again after JIKOOK's confession, it is clear how Jungkook sits alone backstage with his head down and his eyes glazed over. No one knows for sure what happened at that time, but what made the video so touching was Jimin's presence. Without a word, Jimin approached, sat down beside Jungkook, then gently hugged him. There are no words, no explanations, only silence that speaks much louder than anything. That's when many fans now believe that their relationship has entered a dimension that cannot be explained by the word best friend alone. After official recognition, BTS continued to run as a group. Nothing has changed in their synergy on stage. RM remains a wise leader. Suga calmly balances the dynamics of the group. J-Hope is still light and energy. V remains with his unique charm, and Jin, although still serving in the military at that time, sends a message of full support to all members, especially Jimin and Jungkook. In a letter read at a concert in Busan, Jin wrote, "I'm proud of you. Love is not something to be feared, but rather appreciated. Never feel alone."